Que veux-tu, page? Un courrier me demande. D'où vient-il? De la part de la reine d'Islande. Ciel qui sait comme quoi j'en suis persécuté, un peu plus de repos, avec moins de bonté. Et quoi qu'un fol espoir ose encore lui promettre, je lui vais envoyer sa mort dans une lettre.
Do you think that the restrictions made you more creative, or it was very limiting, like, you know, like being trapped in a box or something?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It was a commission with rules, and fortunately there are those rules, because if you're allowed to do what you want, usually I think it's very bad.
Yeah.
And if you have those restrictions,
Right.
you can transform them really into a game, into how to escape.
Yeah.
And if you have to think how to escape, you use maybe parts of your brain that usually are asleep, you know?
Okay. Yeah.
And I think something like that happened. The fact that you only have 12 days of shooting.
Yeah.
So where can it happen? An hotel. A hotel, you can have a lot of different locations. There's no money to make the film. Maybe if in a hotel, if there's a lot of places, people will not see that there's no money. And maybe if the hotel is just near the theater, I can shoot 1 or 2 hours more in the evening so that they run on stage.
Mon visage est ainsi malheureux en attrait. D'autres charment de loin. Le mien fait peur de près.
Eh, si l'on brûle pour toi, ça n'est pas son sujet.
I could choose the play. So I chose this play from Corneille.
Right.
And also because there was another restraint, that was the verses.
Oh, right.
It's
yeah.
beginning of the 17th century language on Alexandrin. But then, because of all that, because it was in a first look very far from movies, where can I invent something that had to do with cinema, with movies?
Yeah.
So it was really exciting to do it. And as I knew the actors, because I couldn't change the actors, I adapted, thinking of them, you know?
Yeah. So that made it easier because you already kind of knew who the actors were, rather than having to cast up, you know.
Each film has its own necessity or story. There, it's the pleasure of the commission, and working with actors from La Comédie Française who would love to do movies, but because they are from the Comédie Française, people sometimes of movies think they are acteurs de théâtre et que donc ça ne marchera pas. It won't work in movies because it's not true. They can do anything. Yeah, I was often thinking of that. I mean, if Corneille knew about movies, how would he adapt the play? Because in fact it's very, very faithful to the play and to the spirit of it and of what happens to those young men and young women. It's a play that he wrote when he was very young, and you can feel it. There's a sort of energy with the young girls who are obliged to marry a person that they don't desire physically even. So this whole story starts with that, in fact.
Si je vaux mieux qu'un cœur où cet amour s'applique. J'ai raillé comme toi, mais c'était seulement pour ne t'avertir pas de mon ressentiment. Et ma feinte douceur prépare beaucoup mieux ce piège où tu vas choir, et bientôt à mes yeux. Toutefois, qu'as-tu fait qui te rende coupable? Pour chercher sa fortune étant si punissable. Tu m'aimes.
The biggest thing, maybe, it was to find, in the play, it's the story of a magician in a cave,
Yes.
who shows the father projections,
Okay.
sort of projections, of the life of his son that he is looking after. So it was this sort of situation. And that's where I thought hotel concierge is like a god or a magician in a hotel, because he knows everything on anybody.
Right.
And I thought about the video game, the illusion, this incredible pleasure that we all have when we are in an audience watching at something, let's say a play or a film. We know it's not true, we know there's a filter, we add after a moment something, we forget it's not the reality, and you get mixed up sometimes. And Corneille play is a sort of tribute to theater, to this illusion, where the father believes what he sees. Like, so the most difficult thing was to find a way in movies, what would be the illusion in movies.
Mon fils est mort.
Patience, patience, patience.
Mon fils est mort. Un peu de patience.
Oui. Plein d'or, tes vertus et ton feu légitime t'ayant acquis mon cœur.
Oh no, nothing changed, you know. In fact, I started my life more as a technician. I always was behind the camera.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
And I did all jobs in movies.
Okay.
Started at 17 years old. I did everything. So, assistant director, the food, the car, editing, the light. I did all the jobs. So, and I was in love with making films, and too shy to think of something that had to do with acting. That is something that Arnaud Desplechin invented, that I didn't know I had, you see. But I was already 30 years old, and as he's a very good director, people think I'm an actor, but my life is to write, to make films, to steal time, to have time to write. And the thing is, I'm attracted to directors. So, and it's moving when people want to do something together like that. So I have friends I can't resist. Les frères Larieux, Arnaud Desplechin, and but I never think about this thing about acting. No, my life, when I wake up in the morning, it's more about doing films.